any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WinFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN. It is a rainy Monday morning, November 7th. And it's a pleasure to be here with you guys, even though I'm a bit late. And I do apologize for the late start. Circumstances beyond my control this morning. But I'm here and I'm happy. I'm looking forward to the show we're going to have. And of course, I'm your host, Azem, and usually I'm joined by Jade Gwen, but she is not here. I was hoping that she'd join us via some other means, but she might be weeping. She might be weeping, based on some disappointment, but I'm sure she'll tell you guys about that when she gets here. But I'm hoping everyone had a peaceful weekend. Filled with rest, good times, and now ready and rearing to be productive in this new week. If that's not the case, well, hey, just do what we gotta do. But I know everybody is looking at the weather, wondering where this come. I got a lot of questions. Like, we supposed to get a hurricane? Like, this is a hurricane nobody tell us about? No. No. Little weather system, a few thunderstorms. And thankful for the geography of St. Kitts to try and help some of the rain waters when they come to head down to the sea. I mean, we just try and spoil it up, eh? We just try and spoil it up with all our roads and projects and getting rid of the cane fields and all these things without proper, like, water management and drainage. But, alas, some places aren't so lucky. We would have heard about, I'm sure a lot of us would have seen some of the flooding that was happening in St. Martin for sure. And Witty is saying, asking if Jay didn't get to see Burna Boy. No, that show was postponed or cancelled or something. They really tried to have that show happen. I think it's only like 10:45 in the evening. They finally made an official announcement that this thing wasn't gonna be happening. And there was a lot of Kittitians, people from all across the Caribbean really, who went to St. Martin. Anguilla for sure was over there, who was looking forward to seeing that event, but the rains. Of course, some of us may have also seen what was happening in some of the other islands, particularly St. Lucia, where the water has risen. I've seen some pictures from St. Lucia as well. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So sending prayers, well wishes to people in the most affected countries, and those of us here. I'm hoping that we remain safe, particularly on the roads right now. A lot of people making their way to work. The areas where there are potential for landslides and landslips and just debris getting into the roads. So please, guys, take your time. I know it's still raining cats and dogs in some areas of the island, so please be careful. Take your time. Do like me. If the thing ain't working for you, if you got to reach a few minutes late, better to reach a few minutes late than not to reach at all. So I'm asking everybody to just kind of be careful out there. And yeah. Hey, but shall we on the flooding talk? Let's talk a bit about this whole situation. There's all kind of things surrounding Burna Boy. Burna Boy, like, he's gonna be the string that threads all of this together this morning. Because of course, as we wait for our guest this morning, it's Monday, so it's usually traffic talk. I'll just go to one or two of the articles that we have here, guys. This one says Burna Boy St. Martin show postponed due to heavy rain and flooding. Wow. Burna Boy's concert in St. Martin has been postponed until further notice. Stonehouse believe promoters of the concert announced via social media that the show was postponed due to inclement weather. The concert was due to take place on Saturday night. Unfortunately, the concert has officially been declared postponed due to the non-stop rain, causing dangerous flash floods. The promoters posted on Facebook last night. Earlier, the promoters insisted the show would go on and urged patrons to walk with their poncho, umbrella, raincoat, shower cap, and party shoes to show the world that they are used to wet fests and know how to party. However, conditions worsened and some patrons said they were trapped and could not make it. I am trapped and physically cannot get to your event. I'm sorry. I know you put a lot into this, but you are going to get someone killed, said one patron. Wow. The promoters thanked the local and regional acts carded to perform. To our local and regional artists that were to perform at the Festival Village for the Burna Boy concert, we are saddened to have postponed the show until further notice. Thank you for your dedication and commitment. So many of you were ready to perform no matter the circumstances, and for that you have our utmost respect. We do hope that you will still be with us whenever the next show is scheduled, they said. This is not the first time Burna Boy's concert was threatened due to rain. His show in Tobago for the Tobago Music and Arts Festival on October 27th was marred by heavy rain, but the African giant, as he is called, braved the weather and performed for the patrons who stood with umbrellas to see him. In the middle of a thunderstorm, Tobago, you all were unbelievable, he later posted on Instagram. Well, I know there are a lot of persons who are a bit disappointed. Like I said before, a lot of persons travel to St. Martin for this event. And unfortunately, the weather really made it impossible for the show to go on as planned. And so, we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. It's gonna be interesting to see. Definitely gonna be interesting to see. But the other thing that I recognize is gonna be impactful is flights and not only flights but also those who are coming up via the boat. I don't think the seas are friendly, so I'm sure some of those modes of transportation, flights, sea trips, they are probably postponed, or cancelled actually. So this is gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm really curious to see Jade and how she reacts. How she reacts to what we have going on. So we're gonna look forward to that. But like I said, guys, those of us here, I'm really hoping that we remain safe out there, and everyone gets to work safe, get to where they need to go safe. Even though we got traffic talk coming up next, don't give the traffic officers too much work today. Please be mindful. But speaking of traffic talk, it's actually time for us to jump into that. So we're actually going to take a short break and be right back. And when we come back, we're jumping into some traffic talk with our friends from the traffic department. So stick and stay. Don't go anywhere.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Daily low with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode. Attention all drivers. I'm begging you to slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, down. Too many stunt drivers on the road, man. With the fire day, driver, what's your emergency? It's better late than never. So why all the hurry? Speeding is the main cause of plenty mishaps. The road is now a racetrack, threatening life and property, and all the result of that led to death and injury. Inconsiderate driving, this nonsense need to stop. I'm making it my business to alert all motorists. traffic laws. I have seen what speed can do. Here I am to your rescue to help you to live. Just take this advice I give. I warn all drivers to take care of your passengers. Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode. How much more tragedy we have to endure to face the reality. Less is safer than more. I'm begging all my friends. Be careful on the road. Slow it down, slow it down. Hey, Roger, watch out for them donkey. Hey. Slow it down, man. Hey. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, down, down. Especially by the school zone. The dirt road procedure, Granny reminisce about how it used to be more safer. They used to travel without the fear of getting hit by a speeding vehicle. Hey. Now it's the fast and furious. They ignoring the traffic code. They defeating the purpose of our lovely road. Driving too fast, some even overtaking corners too. Next you hear a low, low bam, another traffic jam. Somebody child fighting for their life. The rescue team does take so long before they respond. You're taking a serious risk, exceeding the speed limit. When your vehicle right off, and your friends them a go laugh. Blood stains everywhere. A whole heap of them done dead for the year. I don't beg you already, I gon' beg you again. Because how things start, no so things does end. Them undertakers doing well, while insurance catching hell. Hey, slow it down, slow it down. Hey. Bumbo, watch out for them stunt drivers, boy. The speed limit is 40, not 90. Hey. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, down, down. Ease up off the gas pedal. You are expected home. These stubborn people like you would make a whole nation moan. Especially if you take a life.
Hey guys, welcome back to Win Media SKN, and we are jumping into our next segment right here on Island T, which is Traffic Talk. Good morning, guys. Good morning. We have in studio with us. We have a party today. We have some extra persons. Y'all know Jade wasn't coming, no? But we have in studio with us Sergeant Harris as well as Constable Bell in studio with us. Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Morning all.
Yeah, Constable Bell, I'm going to ask if you could get a bit closer to your microphone. That would be great. Appreciate that. But what do we have on this lovely agenda for us this morning?
On the agenda today, we tend to touch on traffic tips when driving vehicles. For example, to keep your vehicle in good working condition, where before you jump in the vehicle and drive off, inspect your vehicle, make sure the lights are working, tires are good. Also check make sure the seat belt and so forth is working. We saying follow basic car safety. Where a person in front should be properly fitted by his seat belt. Children under the age of 14 should be at the rear and properly restrained. We also asking the drivers them to stay alert while driving. This means focus on the road and minimize distraction. This is where the cell phone and so forth come in. Concentrate on the road, put down the cell phone. If you do have to talk on the cell phone, we ask you to pull off the road and answer that cell phone. With person who usually go out to party, we say drive sober, no matter what. Don't drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs, whether illegal or prescribed. This tends to be affecting, when using, you tend to affect your brain, where you get sleepy or tired, and you could lose control of the said vehicle. And we also asking, if you plan to go out and drink, walk with a friend who is not drinking and who have a license, so that person could drop you home safely. Don't drive tired. I know some of us work long hours and so forth, but we should not drive tired, because, as you know, your family waiting on you at home. Nighttime driving is much more dangerous, since it's very difficult to see what's on the road or near the roadway at night. Drivers must always remember to stay alert, have their headlights on, and pay attention to their surroundings while operating a vehicle in the dark. The law are there for all of us to follow. As he said about the nights, but people tend to put on tint on the whole windscreen, which will be affecting you at night, and plus if rain start to fall, that make it worse. So we saying, when you drive at night, be careful, pay attention to your surrounding while operating vehicle in dark. And we need to show courtesy to other drivers on the road. We tend while driving, put on our bright lights, and when upcoming vehicle come in, the bright light still on. So you're affecting the other driver coming from the opposite direction. So it's just a courtesy, a common courtesy. We asking the drivers them to practice. And with reference to the weather today, we ask person to slow down. There's a lot of water on the road, so we ask those to slow down. And for those drivers who is following the rules, yes, there will be aggressive drivers and so forth. But we asking those who follow rules, when you see aggressive driver, pull off the road and let them pass you. Let them pass. Don't try maneuver just to let the people stay to the back, then accident happen. Let them pass. Let them pass.
Well, it seems as though a lot of what you're speaking about, especially initially, is really tips to help drivers maintain focus on the road while driving.
That's correct.
And I think it's come up here, but it does seem like a lot of traffic accidents could be attributed to the fact that persons lose concentration or focus was elsewhere while driving. Is that a fair assessment?
That's correct.
Right. Well, guys, it's obvious that is something that we need to take into consideration, especially considering that we've seen a lot of these little fender benders. I mean, I drive around, I see them, a little touch off here, a little thing here. Yeah, blocking up the traffic. So, so please, I speak it to myself because, I mean, even some of those tips I know I could take into consideration to try and avoid some of these accidents. And of course, even though we see a lot of these fender benders and things, the possibility still exists for you to get into serious accidents. So we really need to pay attention. It's funny how just a split second of distraction could cause you such a serious put a serious impact on your life. Just a split second,
And that's what the charge said, driving without jockey and attention.
Right. And I'm sure a lot of these situations you see that's at play.
Yeah.
And also, we are also saying when there's a lot of rain falling, hard shower, put on both your indicators. So the person behind you go aware that where you're at, so that the person not running into your back.
You mean in situations where visibility might be lessened?
That's
Or is
correct.
it encouraged that you put on your flashers?
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
That will help the person behind to know where you're at.
Okay. I know some people may not have recognized that is something that would have been encouraged by the police. You know what I mean? To be able to put your flashers on, like to help with visibility. But it's good to know that is the case.
Yeah, safety is all of us. Every person who have a license, it is important to do safety on the road. As we say, we see a lot of mishaps on the road where just a little hits there and then. And to let the public know when you get in an accident, please report it and don't try to work it out between both parties without the police. You got sometimes that two parties will decide they're working out the problem, and then months after, nothing happened, and that's when they come to the police for assistance. That is wrong. When you get in an accident, report it and let the police come and do the investigation. And furthermore, for traffic accidents, where the damages and so forth, that's a legal aspect where you will have to sue the party to fix your vehicle. But the joke here is under the police. That's an offense under the Federation, under the Road and Traffic Act. So when you do get in an accident, whether you and the person rather to work it out, you still commit an offense, and police still could charge you for that offense.
All right, noted.
Also to add, all traffic accidents should be reported within 24 hours. Okay, and failing to do that is also an offense.
Okay, and just you use a word there that I think maybe should be stressed. You said all, not some, not one in every three. You're saying all accidents, no matter where it occurs,
Yes.
should be reported.
All.
Okay. All right. Is that something you guys see happening where persons for one reason or another might decide to not report it? I know Sergeant spoke about one particular instance, but is there any other reason you think persons just don't do it. For instance, maybe there is an accident, but it doesn't involve another vehicle. In instances like that, is it still a requirement for persons to report the accident?
Yes, because the person would want their damages to be fixed also. And if they're going to claim from the insurance is going to need a police report. And if you don't report the accident, then there won't be any report. And the insurance also asks for a notice of intended prosecution. This helps them to more believe that the police was present, because back then persons used to go to the insurance, claim for accidents that never occurred. So you having the notice and the police report is more evidence to show that the police were present and an accident did occur.
Yeah, understood. You guys all hear that? Call the police. One of the easy numbers. Oh, by the way, you guys at liberty to tell our viewers and listeners the number for the traffic department?
Well, you call 465-2241 and you ask them to transfer it to the traffic department, or you could tell them to transfer it to 4204.
Okay. All right. You guys got an extension 4204, guys. All right.
With reference to night, usually night is a half an hour after sunset until a half an hour before sunrise.
Before you continue, officer, I know we have some persons who've been trying to get in. Let's try and take a call. Good morning, caller. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Morning.
I have a question. If you suspect a driver to be driving under the influence, then getting into an accident, what is the procedure to ascertain whether or not that person was driving above the prescribed alcohol level?
With the alcohol issue, any police officer could ask a person for a sample where the person breath test, where the person might suspect to under influence of alcohol. But bear in mind that sometimes people will refuse. The police will record it, and that will be said in the magistrate court. So
when you say you ask them for a sample of what?
You could do the breath test.
Well, that is not acceptable in the court anymore. The breathalyzer is not acceptable. How do you get them to perform a blood test that is acceptable? Do you escort them? Do you ask them to go? Or do you escort them to the hospital or whatever to get the blood sample?
Yes.
So somebody could choose to go sometime later when the concentration of alcohol in the blood would have been diluted.
No.
What is the procedure? What is really the procedure to get a blood test done to ascertain the level of alcohol in the blood?
The police will escort the individual. As I said, the person had the right to refuse. If the police asks for the blood test and he refuses, all he have to do is record it. But for person who refuse, record it. The information will come out in court that the person refused for that test.
But even if the person refuses and you take it to court and that comes out, that doesn't help the general public from being void of somebody who usually dies under the influence. Because you would not have that information. You might report that he refused.
Yes.
But then we cannot ascertain what the blood level. So he get a chance now to go back on the road, drink more alcohol, and get into another accident. What would be the ramification of somebody who refuses? Would the license be revoked for a period of time?
No, caller. As I say, it's up to the investigator how he give you evidence. Where where the investigate, even though the gentleman refused, the investigator go on his stand and give you evidence and said how the gentleman was acting, how the movement of his body, whether the gentleman was staggering, whether the gentleman couldn't say certain words, you have difficulties in speaking and so forth. That's the evidence that will be given by the investigator. Even though the person refused, the investigator will go to court and say what he observed when he reached on the scene.
What about his senses? Because somebody under some different conditions could go through the same thing and not being able to call words, pronounce words, and move in a way that could be shaken up by the accident. What about the sense of scent?
Yes,
Would it to indicate that there was a scent of alcohol coming from the breath of the driver?
yes, all that. What he observed, he will say it in court. So everything he observed, whether when he approached the gentleman will smell stink of alcohol, the officer will document that and give that in evidence. Whether the eyes was red, closing down, whether he couldn't stand up, two-step, he falling down and so forth. All that could be a part of the officer evidence.
Yeah, that is true, but how do you know whether or not that they would lead to being above the alcohol level, the prescribed alcohol level limit? Because you could have somebody who just drank one glass or something,
Yes.
and it would have them impacted in such a negative way. But then the level of alcohol in the blood might not be above the prescribed legal limit.
I understand, Carla, but as I tell you, is the evidence the investigator gave in court, as the gentleman have the right to refuse. You cannot force the gentleman to give anything. He have a right to refuse, but it's up to the officer now how he give the evidence in court.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks much, man.
All right, thanks, Carla, for your contribution. Yeah, you were before the call. You were just about to get into something else now.
Or night. Usually, under the Traffic Act, night means from half an hour after sunset until half an hour before sunrise for the lighting of the vehicle. For today, the Commissioner of Police, the licensing authority, have the authority to change, to fix that or change it. Where he see that night will be coming in at an earlier stage or later stage. So for like today, because night will be at 6 p.m., place will be dark at 6 p.m. The commissioner instruct that the night start from 6 p.m. to 5:45 a.m. the succeeding day. So usually sunrise, half an hour and so forth, but now is 6 p.m.
Okay.
So today is 6 p.m.
Okay, I got you. Let's try and get the comments from one of these callers. Good morning, caller. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Good morning, officer. Good morning, host.
Good morning.
Just to relate to the last conversation with the last caller that you had a few minutes ago, it appears to me like the last caller was trying to imply to you that what decision will you take if someone appeared to you under the influence? Can you stop them from driving, or can you let them go on to continue to do another accident? My impression is that he was searching to see what decision you will make. It appears to me like if someone is under the influence and you give them a certain things to do and they are not carrying out the instructions, your next step will be to get a test, which will be a blood test to say the level of alcohol that could make that person intoxicated.
That's good.
The other thing is that I get the impression that it could be an arrestable offense until the person cool off to your extent. Alcohol have already moved from their system slow down, and so they balance, and so they understand where the communication goes. Then you have the court procedures after that. So that will be days after when they get to before a magistrate. So to the person from operating the vehicle, most of this when the accident took place. After most of the time, only when something happened.
Yes.
So your action would be to make sure that the person don't drive again for that within that period.
Period of time, yes.
The thing is that I want to look at is that we have drivers on the road. Whenever you're driving and you dim your light, you must remember that your side, your traveling speed versus your vision have diminished somewhat.
That's correct.
That you will normally see when you're driving at a certain speed. The bright light gives you the permission to drive a certain speed because you can only drive into an area that you can see. When you dim and you're driving at a certain speed, the speed should cut down because you're blinded somewhat, semi-blinded because of your distance in vision. And so that is why some people do run up on some vehicles that are parked on the side of the road when an oncoming vehicle is coming towards them when they dim because they cannot see on their side properly. Thing is that those who are exercising on the road should have something that should give some kind of vision to the driver rather than wearing all black. All black look is nice, but when you are driving, you're looking to see the vision that someone is exercising in front of you so you can slow down or pull a slide and let the person who are walking continue and so on. And that's only a matter of safety and common courtesy. And it saves one if you don't get in an accident. You have other things to do rather than waiting until the police come and measure up and all kind of thing. And some of the officers really ride slow, so they take the time. So you better just let the person who is in a hurry go, and so on. Common courtesy, and everybody will be all right.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the information and your education. Have a good day.
Thanks for calling.
All right, thanks, caller. So as you were saying, well, we have another caller trying to get in. Let's try and get the comments from the callers. Good morning, caller. You're live on Traffic Talk. What's up?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Everything is all right. We're thankful for the rain. And to your officers there. Now, on the backdrop of two callers a while ago, I know that the officers are aware that there are persons who could behave in an erratic way, meaning that their behavior could be erratic on the road, and it may not necessarily be that that person is under the influence of alcohol.
That's good.
Now, we have persons who suffer from certain health conditions. I don't really, right now, the medical term is eluding me. But there are persons who suffer from, like, diabetes, and some people have it real bad. They go into shock.
That's true.
They have persons who suffer from epilepsy, and they don't know some other kind of real serious medical condition. Some of these people are independently minded. They prefer to drive for themselves because they feel like they are inadequate and, whatever else, psychological problems that could attach to them in making them feel like they are less than and that they have to depend on persons. So they get behind the wheel, and they too can be a danger. Now, is there anything in the law which states that persons who are suffering from diabetes, where they can go into a shock at any time, epilepsy, where there could be an attack at any time, is there any law which suggests that persons who are suffering from these conditions, forbidding them from driving at any time? I'll continue to listen.
All right, thanks, caller, for your contribution.
Where the person suffer from certain illness and so forth. Bear in mind, you have persons suffer from illness and never get in an accident. But where a person suffer from illness and so forth and go in front the magistrate court and charge, and his medical history come to light within the court, the magistrate, in his wisdom, could withdraw that person license.
So what you're saying is that it's not necessarily, at least at this point in time, the possibility of you getting a driver's license isn't dependent on some recurring medical exam or anything like that. So okay,
No.
so you say it would be difficult to then try and police a person's health as it relates to the ability to drive.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Understood. We start a bit late, so we'll give you a few minutes more just so you could wrap up and speak to any other issues. And that's on your agenda.
With reference to the makeshift motorbikes, where a person tends to put engine and pedal bike, we had asked the persons to desist from coming on the Island Main Road with those vehicles, because it become a motor vehicle now is propelled by an engine. So once the police officer catch you with them on the main road, you will be charged for the insurance and license.
Right.
And the insurance most of the time is either money forthwith or prison.
Right.
So I know you have some parents out there ordering this said engine for their children. But let us bear in mind that is an offense to have a vehicle on the road that is not licensed, or insured, or registered. So let's.
And you're saying so let's just do a hypothetical.
Yes.
Young man, I've seen young men as young as what seems to be, let's say, 12, 13 years old, riding some of these inventions on the road. What would be the procedure dealing with a situation like that, where there's a young man found with one of these makeshift motorbikes on the road?
Well, that's a number of offenses. One, it's an unregistered motor vehicle. It's not insured. It's not licensed. That person wouldn't have any permission or license to be driving that.
They're not a licensed driver.
For that motor vehicle. The bike will still be confiscated because it's on the road illegally. It's a motor vehicle on the road illegally. That's about the amount.
So at that point now the officers now would have to use their discretion in terms of any legal action that might be taken, or is it because of the age that there is no charge that could be laid to the
Or
minor?
you're specifying based on the age of the
Yeah, so
person?
we're talking because a lot of the times it's a lot of young men I see riding these vehicles. So that's why I asked specifically about that.
With usually for that, every person is way under age, is a child. Let's say a person under the age of 16, because truth and in fact, once you're 16, you could have a permit to ride a motorbike. Let's say under the age of 16, where a person is caught and so forth. This is where like social will play a part. Special victim unit, the court they will be going is not the normal court where we big individual go. We will go to a juvenile court.
Okay.
With reference to that, though, all those children and so forth have a guardian. These youngsters didn't purchase these items, so therefore it got to be either parents or whatsoever. And for the parents to do that, they too could be charged for permitting the individual to drive without a license.
Okay, so that was my question.
Yeah.
Is there any liability that the parents could then could now shoulder?
Yes, because the ownership is really on the adult and not the child.
Okay, understood. So there are things in place to hold both the driver, even though they're child, accountable, as well as the guardian.
That's correct.
Okay. Understood. Let's take just one more call and wrap up this morning. Good morning, caller. You're live on Traffic Talk. Talk to us. Morning.
I'm calling on regards to the FC William Highway.
Mm-hmm.
So I was ticketed like a year ago for coming from the factory and taking a right turn.
Yes.
It's amazing when the law, you expect them to uphold the law, they break the law. It's just Saturday, I was driving on the FC and the police came from there and made the right turn. I'm just calling to address that because it's very funny.
Yes.
They picked you, and then they came out and turned to the same one doing the same wrongdoing.
It's a very sad situation we are in. As police officers, we're here to uphold the law, but there are certain individuals tends to break it. But as I said, the police officers are not above the law. For sure, if a traffic department had caught the police officer, he would be ticketed.
In a situation like that, officer, what should the citizen do if they're to witness something like that? What would be the best course of action?
They have a way to report.
So maybe take the number of the vehicle and the time?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, caller. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we've had some reports of that even here on the show about persons getting ticketed, pulled over, etc. for some sort of traffic offense, and then you see police vehicle doing the same thing, and so at least now listeners and viewers recognize that there is the responsibility on the citizen to report that as well.
Yes. And the beauty about it, when you're ticketing, it go towards the driver. So if you're driving a police vehicle and you break the law, the ticket will go in your name and not the police, the government name.
Yeah.
It will go into the police, the driver of that said vehicle.
Okay. Well, guys, time is fast spent, and we appreciate you guys taking the time to come out and hang out with us this morning. Talking about so many things that affect us here in the traffic. Any last words before we call it the end?
Just to appeal to the driver. This is a wet day. Be careful on the road. Watch and be mindful of other users of the road, and be very careful.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Corporal, thank you so much for Corporal Bell. Thank you so much for coming in. I don't know. This is your first time being on the show.
For this radio station, yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome. Who knows? You might be back with us sometime. So I appreciate it. Guys, we're gonna take a short break and be right back with more Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN. Please, guys, stick and stay.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode. Attention. caution all drivers. I'm begging you to slow it down, slow it down.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Daily wall with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Triple that cash back. From now until December 31st, Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store is going to triple that cash back. You heard right. Hosford's is going to triple that never-ending cash back now with 3 big ways to save. 1. Get low monthly and weekly payments and no payment until February 2023. 2. Get a chance to win absolutely free groceries for 1 year. 3. Triple that never-ending cashback at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store for even more groceries. Triple that cashback today at Hosford. Triple the savings. Triple the free groceries. Triple the extraordinary. Triple that never-ending cashback today. See store for details.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Hey guys, welcome back to Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN. And yeah guys, it's still Monday, November 7th. 7 days into November, guys. Time going. And I'm looking, look, we really got a lot to be thankful for. During the break just now, I go into my phone and I saw some videos of stuff that's happening in St. Lucia. St. Lucia seems to have developed overnight what I can only term as a container cruise line. Apparently, I'm looking at the videos of these 40-foot, 20-foot containers just casually floating down the streets of St. Lucia. Whole containers just floating. And the water's so high, the containers literally above the roofs of some buildings. I really don't think St. Kitts blessed by. Yeah, thank God for small mercies. As a matter of fact, y'all don't take it for granted. As the officer said, please be safe on the roads today. And whenever it's raining, you guys know over the next couple of weeks, couple of months, we're gonna be having some rain from time to time. Because I don't know why they don't switch up the hurricane season. The wet season, everything done change. Everything done shift further down the calendar. So we need to get with the program. I don't know how many more years of this we're going to have before we just acknowledge that that's what's going on. We got hurricanes coming in October and so now. Like November and thing, who knows? You never know what's going to happen in November. We're having all these thunderstorms and things. Everything change up. The wet season change, all that. We need to change all the books, everything we're teaching the children, all I need to move. But boy, we really blessed, I can tell you. But let's jump into tea time. So last week we actually had the registrar at the intellectual property office here speaking about some consultations that they were gonna be having last week. I went to the one here in St. Kitts, and they had one also in Nevis. Some interesting things came out of that conversation, and we could speak a bit about it. It says, ECHO introduces licensing rates in SKN with government support, a move to support content creators or owners. The Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, ECHO, has reached an amicable agreement with the music creators, and music users of St. Kitts and Nevis concerning licensing and compliance with music rights. Interesting. In a recent consultation with stakeholders across all sectors, ECHO introduced new introductory licensing rates effective November 1st, 2022 to music users of St. Kitts and Nevis to increase compliance and the licensing revenue in the territory. The introductory rates will run for a period of 1 year. Now, for those of you who are interested in the introductory rates, you could get it from this article that's on winmediaskn.com. The objectives of the consultations were to educate music creators and music users on the importance of music rights, license all music users, broadcasters, hotels, guest houses, restaurants, bars, shops, stores, banks, offices, event promoters, etc., thus increasing ECHO's licensing revenue, and foster a partnership with the government, IP Register's office, and other creatives in St. Kitts and Nevis. ECHO plans to license all music users in St. Kitts and Nevis and will contact all business owners, broadcasters, and event promoters for a license. The licensing will cover public performances, mechanical license, synchronization license, and reproduction fees. All public performances in spaces where people gather other than small circle of family or its social acquaintances, or are transmitted to the public by radio or television broadcast, music on hold, cable television, and by the internet must have a public performance license. The public performance license grants permission to play the song in public, online, or on the radio. A mechanical license grants permission to release the song in an audio-only format, interactive audio streams, digital downloads, CDs, vinyls, etc. A synchronization license grants permission to release the song in a video format, YouTube, DVD, Blu-ray, disc, etc. A reproduction fee is a cost associated with copying the content from one medium to another, making it available to the public. Tariffs on copyrighted content use already exist. The tariffs will affect broadcasters, concerts and events, carnival, street parades, restaurants, bars and cafes, karaoke, banks, offices and industrial premises, shops and stores, and online music use with fees associated with the use of copyrighted content in these institutions and situations. Well, I for one am happy to hear that there's some movement in this direction. The use of music has gone on forever with very little compensation for the music, for the rights owners, right? And the level of compliance in St. Kitts has been very low in terms of getting permission to use this stuff. And there's been a lot of public debate about it over the past few years, I would say, even prior to COVID. And I think that there has been an effort by some of the stakeholders, whether it's ECHO, whether it's the IP office, to try and educate persons on the law and what is necessary in terms of trying to become compliant and really and truly just do the right thing. I think during this education process, there might have been some complaints about the rates at which persons have to pay and who has to pay and all of that sort of stuff. Which is, I guess for me, it's understandable, because when you go and tell somebody that, hey, you're gonna have to pay, you're cutting into your profits and stuff like that, nobody's gonna be happy about that. Nobody's gonna be happy about that. But when we start talking about the fact that you're paying to use music, something that is really and truly essential to what we do as humans, like anywhere we socialize, anywhere we work, we play, music accompanies that, and to say that this thing plays such an important part in what it is that we do. But the persons who would have spent time, money, invest their creativity, their intellectual property into the creation of this material should not be compensated, even though it adds so much value to whatever it is we're doing. I don't think there's a lot of people who could argue that. So perhaps the argument was the fee. And so we see at least for 1 year, ECHO has introduced introductory rates. It does seem though that this is something that is specific to this territory. This doesn't seem to be the case in some of the other territories which ECHO holds, so is responsible for. Sorry. But yeah, and I mean, I was having some conversations with some music users, and they were expressing, that's a lot of money and thing. And when we stop and we talk about it and say, look, if you are, let's say, a supermarket, you have music playing from the time the door open to the time the last customer goes out of the supermarket. The amount of songs that you probably play in that time, right? Each of those songs may have multiple rights owners, 4, 5, 6, 7, however much. If you have to pay, and I'll use an arbitrary figure now, because I think for supermarkets, it's dependent on square footage. So it's not like every supermarket, every shop have to pay the same tariff. It depends on the size of a supermarket, which of course I would suspect would correlate to traffic, right? So let's say you have to pay, let's say $2,000 a month. Just calling. If you play in 500 songs a day, at each of those 500 songs have, let's just say for fun of it, 3 rights owners. You see how much people that $2,000, and that's a day. So you multiply that by 30 or 31. You see how much thousands and thousands and thousands of songs being played. Each of them getting a fraction of a cent. A fraction of a cent. That's added to the pool for them to be able to get something. Now bear in mind that these people, and the reason that this is interesting for me, the pushback sometimes, is because this isn't something new. This isn't something that just come. It's just that we weren't compliant. And I tell the story here before, I was in Trinidad some years ago, and I'm standing in the line in a bank, and CAT, who is the collective organization down there, they went into the bank and I met them lock out the music. They hadn't paid their license. They weren't compliant. Now, if you don't think about it here, but if you someplace standing up and the music stop, it changes the entire environment in that institution here. But the point I make it is, this isn't anything new. This is something that's been going on. I mean, I have friends in some of the other territories that are way more compliant. Their royalty check is their retirement fund. Like that's how they intend to retire, from their royalty checks. our creatives don't have that luxury. I have friends that have gone to the bank and been able to receive loans based on the royalty statements, saying that this is regular monthly earnings that could be projected. And yeah, we can't do that here. People are able to put up their catalogs as collateral. Part of that is being able to receive the royalties. I have friends that have done that. They've put up parts of their catalog and been able to go to the bank, use that as security, and receive loans. Like, we can't do that here. We can't do that here. The banks, they may even want to hear the conversation. But part of the issue is that we have not been able to create a situation where persons have been able to receive their due compensation. And we feel it's okay to just continually use people's works and the things that people own just as we please, and don't feel like they should be getting anything. So hopefully we see some increased compliance. Again, it does seem as though there were some conversations between ECHO and the government. I know those conversations have been ongoing for quite some time, it seems. For quite some time, it seems, and this is kind of where we're at. So hopefully we even see compliance from the government. I know the government, and this isn't even unique to St. Kitts, but there are a lot of non-compliance across the region. Somebody's asking what are the rates for these copyright songs. Well, I mean, once this song is created, it has copyright, but it depends. It depends on the user, the usage. So it's a tariff that depends on several different factors. So, for instance, the tariff that's paid by event promoters isn't the same that is paid, for instance, by a supermarket, right, or hotel, or a carnival street parade, etc., etc., etc. So if you're really interested in seeing the tariffs and how they work in terms of the introductory rate, if you go to winmediaskn.com, the article that I just read actually has a link to the document outlining the tariffs. I actually think in this article there might have been some an example. So it says in ECHO's current concert and events tariff, royalties are 5% of the gross great receipts. It says they are minimum royalty based on the human capacity of a space per event. The minimum is only applied where the calculation of 5% of gross gate receipts fall below the minimum royalties per event for the corresponding capacity. Right? So for each capacity tier, there is a minimum, and so they could work on that. But that's just for things. So for instance, I'll give you an example. For introductory rates, restaurants, bars, and cafes, for the first 15 seats, $300, and each additional 10 seats or part thereof, $70, right? For instance, people doing karaoke, an annual fee would be like $400. Daily fee would be like $125. So these are some of the introductory rates, and of course it's broken down by usage, and so yeah, if those of you who, for instance, if you are in charge of music or entertainment aspect of a hotel, or you're the person who puts on the music in the morning in the bank, I was to make sure that these things working in the supermarket. Please educate yourself. And I'm gonna be totally honest. I believe that there's a better way for us to go about ensuring compliance. If it's the fact that the government recognizes that this is an issue, if it's a matter that the laws exist, and we recognize that there are persons who could be contravening the law, I believe it's difficult to ensure that all of the users are compliant. I believe the best way to do it is to make it a part of the process for you to be licensed to carry out whatever. So, for instance, if you're keeping an event, just like how you have to apply to the police to get your permit, I think as part of the process, you should present your license for the event, your blanket license to be able to do the event. If you're licensed in a business, when you renew your license for your business, you present, just like how you have to present all these other paperwork. If you have a radio station, a television station, any of these things, in order for you to retain your license from NTRC and stuff, you should be able to just, part of the process should be presenting these things. I think that way you kind of let's say make it part of the process, as opposed to, hey, this entity coming and trying to get money out of you, it just be part of the process, right? And so the police would have a part to play, Inland Revenue would have a part to play, NTRC would have a part to play, and so I think that might be the easier way to try and ensure compliance moving forward. But this is all a work in progress. Hopefully we see some movement there, and yeah, we could see more and more compliance amongst the music users. Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up?
Good morning, Devon. How you doing?
Morning. I'm doing good.
Yeah, me too. Under the weather.
Well, good weather, you know.
Yes, man. Keep water coming.
I'm thankful for the rain.
We get Joe. What you do with Jada? You send us a Martin too?
She gonna say Martin ain't taking me on.
Tell her hold on to what container they go to. Yes, I want to still come back.
But the container them floating away, so me think she could hold on to that.
Yeah, well, I called to say, all very concerned. I see a lot of them putting down here, you know. And I was saying that's so funny that you know, after we just come a container wall all of a sudden. And some of them ain't even set down in the earth. Go to say, for instance, we had a bad hurricane. You know, you see these things flying up in the air like a missile. You know, be somebody say, oh, no, they even can't walk. We can take up anything, put it anywhere here. So you say now they're floating on the road in St. Lucia like a common boat. Okay. People are saying, oh, no, you can't move it. You can't move on. You can move it while you invite.
Mother Nature ain't to play with it. Mother Nature ain't to play with. If she want to go with it, she go with it.
Yeah, I could be up in the air for, you know, spinning like a missile, and you don't even know who will figure no drop on. So I remember to look into that tonight, say a few places, what container be what happening? Huh? I think container supposed to up there with the duck be. And then something just get out of hand here. In your man, I wondering if you ain't come in, I don't tune in, you know. So now I done tune in, and I wondering what happened, and so. Yeah, me, I call him back, I'm radio number in my bedroom. Yeah, I call him back. You hear me echoing back?
Say that again?
You hear me echoing back?
No, man, you're all right, you're good.
Oh. Yeah, I got next problem, you know. I
What's that?
was wondering now, nobody say you can't go out. One or two people go with their mind, but these crowd are going out in the delegate this and delegate these. You want to know what's going on, the delegate, well, two or three can't go. Senator supposed to go, Devon? Senator. When me going out there, go say you done, you show me work what me had to do round in the St. Because the name, brand of the name of the person, where you come from down in St. Paul area. I beg Mr. Doctor to check yourself, you know, because nobody say, yes, you want to go out and look thing, but so much, I think they don't have one person for to do that, and that Mr. Douglas. Why are delegate and they going here and going there in so short a time, and then they come in and say, oh, the children look good. Or the development bank no good. Tell them mine, you know. You were cooking something, right? And you think you're getting the right amount, you know. And when you look, it's pure, just turning, you're trying to get the soup come in. I mean, the rice come in, mine, or the corn come in, mine. You're going to be turning, so man, that's enough water for the corn. Nothing going to happen. When you look, what? You're throwing too much water in the corn. So don't throw milk in it now, so Jane should have to help me now.
Come money.
Huh?
You think she can't come money?
Yes, they got to be careful. Nobody say you can't thing and you put up on thing on Facebook and say this is sweet chewing and stuff. You ain't gone out there like no big minister going to say, well, I want some more coming next year, 2023. So I gone out there to investors and encouraging them. What senator supposed to do? No. I mean, I idea of a senator because I don't even know what's going on.
They're going on the government business. They're going on government business. They're doing the nation's work. They're doing the nation's work.
Well, I'm saying next year about the same time me and Pastor when I see a lot of skyscraper going up and they say, well, you got a bigger job than where you be this morning. I don't worry about me. Mommy don't know it works like that. I go here you say, well, I don't know even if I'm now, I get a job to be, CEO and this or something.
I wishing that for you. I wishing by next year you get a nice big CEO job, working in a nice skyscraper. I hope that for you.
No, so I hope they know that be careful we don't mad about this UN thing the other day, Okay, and it's one people mad and they say, no, isn't it true that maybe no double for this year because people are mumbling about the double. I say, what double? I don't know the people know, but me now can't say it, me wanna. So some more people now travel them, so she don't want to stupid mouth. She come back with that chase election and come and go now. She come with she talk again.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. I'm sure when they get back, they'll give us a report of, what it is that they would have achieved on the trip.
We're not good at promising, because they say, we not get 10, we will get 15, and we not get 5, we're going to get 10. Everybody would have grumble behind it now, we're nothing there, they just listening and try to, represent my country.
That's how we could do.
Your fingers crossed to hear that one day you get a bigger job with daddy in the bank, and mommy you get a bigger job than them. I could hear the next person behind the scene is Devon.
It's Devon for real. You're going to be Devon for real.
Yeah. One load a name H, this big, this. They don't put them out. Okay, you have a good day.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, but we got the best callers in the world, man. Somebody saying I'm all for it, as long as they pay their taxes to operate in St. Kitts. Okay. That question actually came up at the consultation. They are registered in St. Kitts. So I know that was one of the one of the parts of the discussions. Good morning, caller. You're live on ILNT. What's up? Good morning, caller. I lost that caller. Please feel free to call back. But seems like they're trying to get back in. Good morning, caller. You're live on ILNT. What's up?
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
I understand something. Who makes the music popular? I understand everything with the artists and them getting paid and so on and so forth. But what is being suggested worldwide is that radio stations have to pay this license fee. The people organizing functions have to pay a license fee. I mean, you're holding an ordinary party, I think, with a certain number of people. They have to pay a license fee for playing each and every song. This is like traffic stuff. There are laws out there, and they're not enforced. Who will police this thing? And ECHO cannot do it, because as far as I'm aware, there are systems, especially in North America, that actually catalog every single item that is aired So how do you know, for instance, that New Vibes song was played at, say, 10:30 this morning, and again at 5:30 in the afternoon?
Well, I could answer that because the same systems that exist elsewhere in the world, like, is not a geographical thing. So they could see here for instance, with the radio stations, there are two ways. The radio station could present their daily logs. Like, they do have logs. Even like here, I'm literally looking at the log of material right now. I'm sitting here in the studio. Yeah, there's a log. So there's a log of everything that is played. However, what is usually done, because of course that could become tedious, what is usually done is the radio stations are monitored through a link, through a system called BMAT. And so that is what is done most radio stations across the world. The stations is
That's like police for
well, no, it's just a log. So for instance, I could take my phone out right now and there's a song playing, and my phone could tell me what song it's playing. There's a database of these songs, right? And so the songs that are played, they're just monitored, just like how people listening online right now. There's a system that just that monitors that and logs that. Also, for instance, somebody keeping a party, DJ playing, that kind of thing. That's why they get what's called a blanket license. So you get a license to play music in the public. It's not a matter of okay, we need to know this song, that song. Even for public performances, when I tour, the bands that I work with, usually after every performance, they submit a log of the songs they performed to their CMO, whether it's ASCAP, BMI, Echo, for instance. So there's a system in place to monitor songs that are played, and in situations where it's not feasible for songs to be played, then a blanket license exists for that.
So these songs must be played through a particular system then? That's what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying, the system to monitor, it's easy to monitor something like a radio station or an online radio station, something like that. But what happens is, for public performances, performers generally submit their logs. So they put there's a log that, so generally when I used to tour, the manager would do that. The manager would send the logs, present the logs to the CMO. Or, for instance, in situations where that isn't feasible, what happens is the music user gets what is called a blanket license. So it's a license for you to play music in the public. So it's not only based on I played this particular song at this particular time.
Right, but what I'm querying here is that maybe that's why there's been such a high degree of non-compliance, especially within the OECS and so, because I am not certain that a number, especially the radio stations, as we knew them maybe 10, 15 years ago, they don't have systems that actually, as far as I am aware, that actually demand that these things are paid. A music log, for instance, from Sir Jamson, and I know he's big on this, but a music log needs to be submitted either to the accounts department or something, so that when these are compared, you know you're being charged correctly, because Michael Jackson's song was played 50 times. And again, to my original question, who makes these songs popular? The radio stations, the people at the parties, or what? Because I'm okay.
So you believe it's more. So you believe it's more. So you believe it's more that the radio stations make the songs popular, and that the music makes the radio stations listenable.
It's a combination of both.
Right. So that's it. So what would seem to make sense, and I think smarter people than me. I think smarter people than me would have been the one who would have come up with these systems, which is, okay, your business model is based on part playing music, and playing music that people like or want to hear in a way that they want to listen to the song and listen to your station. And in order to access the listenership that you create based on playing these music, you get ads, and people advertisers come on board and pay money to get access to that. So it seems as though it's like you said, everyone is kind of working everyone, and there's an ecosystem that exists.
I mean, boy, I could draw so many examples because, for instance, say the road mats contended by Small Axe.
Mm-hmm.
If they win the road match title, they'll get $20,000. This is not a fact, but it would be encouraging if somebody from Small Axe, for instance, were to pay a DJ or several of the DJs on several stations just to make that popular, that song popular. Say $200 every time you go on the air. So I mean, it doesn't sound good, but my contention is that the stations themselves actually help to make the song popular, unexpected, for instance. I mean, when he came out with those songs several years ago, every time you turn on the radio, he was on. I'm sure he didn't get anything for it.
Do you believe that he should? Do you believe that he should?
Huh?
Do you believe that he should have?
Somewhere along the line, yes.
Do you believe that they played this song?
I don't know how. I don't know
Do you believe they played this song somehow as a favor to Unexpected, or do you believe they played this song because the creation that he came up with was something that they, in their mind, felt their listeners would have enjoyed?
No, man, the people demanded this song.
All right, so the people demanded this song.
Measurement to say how many people demanded it. It was just popular.
Okay, so, but that's what I'm saying. At the same time, if I create something and I have an ownership and people are using it, I think at the base of it, that suggests that people should be paid. For instance, that's like saying
I question it.
No, but that's like saying okay, the driver of a particular vehicle, every time he drives around the nice vehicle and people see it, they like it. They say, I like that vehicle, I want to get one. So what I mean, he driving around and making it popular so that he shouldn't have to pay the manufacturer of the vehicle.
Well, you know that happens sometimes based on who driving the vehicle. You know, you're promoting.
And that is the point I'm making. And that is the point I'm making. So what happens is, who makes the decision? But that's the point I'm making. Who makes the decision whether or not that you have to pay or not? The owner of the vehicle, right? The manufacturer.
It's a toss-up.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're saying that sometimes a person may decide, hey, you know what? You have the right to, I can give you this vehicle because I figure if you drive this vehicle, other people can buy it.
Other people can be interested.
Yeah, but who makes that decision? The person, the manufacturer, correct?
Most likely, yes.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. So the music owners as well have that decision whether or not they want this particular, the truth is, if you own something, you have a right as to how it's used and who uses it, and what would be compensation for using it. I think that's at the basis of just.
This is so interesting.
But the thing is, it's only when we take it out of music, or when we take it to music, all these questions come up. You know, sometimes I don't feel these questions exist in other spheres the same way.
No, because it is a very difficult dynamic to manage. I find so.
But you might find so, but what I'm saying is, this is something that is been going on for years. This ain't a new thing.
I know that.
Right, so is it a matter that the way it's been done or being done all over the world, you think they haven't gone through a lot of these same issues that we're discussing now?
Here in the bank and so on, they should be paying a license to who? Echo? So you know, you're going a certain supermarket and you hear, you know, you jingle bells and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
For doing that, as you said, and I agree with you, as you said, the atmosphere changes if you don't hear it, right? And how you realize that is if it's playing, and because there's some policing the fact that it's playing without you paying a license and it stops, then you start to wonder what happened. So the music is there, you hear it, it creates an atmosphere conducive to buying, etc. I understand that. So what you're saying now is that all of that is past. No, we don't expect to hear music in these supermarkets and so on. That lifts the Christmas spirit and so on.
What I'm saying is that
Uh-huh.
we have for so long been using people's material without paying
Mm-hmm.
compensation. I'm hoping that we're moving to a place where we've evolved as a society to recognize that that is something that we need to address. But why is this? Why is this?
Between two minds. You know why I'm butting?
The thing is, I find this so interesting because, like, in any other scenario, people don't really question it like that. Like nobody does say, "Well, we got to pay for the electricity."
No, because it's a necessity.
But that's what I'm saying. If the music isn't a necessity, they just don't play the music.
So you shut down the radio station and have all talk.
But that would be the case. Not bear in mind that the radio stations still have to pay, even if they're not playing music, because they have to pay for the frequency. Because even that.
There's a broadcast license.
Yeah, and that's so even the airwaves, people don't mind paying for the airwaves. And that's the point I'm making. The point I was making is that I think it just has to become part of the system where people understand, hey, this is kind of like what is necessary to be able to operate in this particular way. Because when you bring it to, like, I put it on the onus of the user or their discretion, or I put it on the artist. Because, for instance, if the artists go to the radios, and this happens, I know there are artists here who tell the radio stations, no, don't play my music. I didn't give you permission to play my music.
Wow, it happens in thinking?
Yeah, like there's I know artists here who tell the radio station, just don't play my music. This is fine.
Wow. So they don't play it. How is it? How is it out there then? When I say how is it out there?
The truth is I think that the power that the radio stations have had over the years in terms of getting music out there, I think that has been lessening over time because of social media particularly. Artists have the ability to go directly to their consumer, and as a matter of fact, get paid for that.
That's a solution. That's a solution because in the past, these big record labels used to buy the artist's music. So you're gonna hear. You remember what Bob Marley did? Bob Marley and all of that. So he created his own label.
No, but
right?
even at that point, for instance, if let's say a radio station buys the music, which that's generally not the case. A lot of times, radio stations, people might give their music to radio stations, but even in the case that they buy it, you buy this thing one time, right? And play it for time immemorial, and because you play that, you create an audience that advertisers want access to, and you just get paid and paid, sometimes daily, sometimes multiple times a day to pay these advertising during the thing, and the creators don't get anything.
No. What I was referring to just a while ago is a case whereby the news are international thing, because the local is a bit different.
Oh, no, the local is the same.
No, the local is definitely the same because there's indigenous music, which I think Echo makes provision for. I think so.
No.
What I was referring.
You're talking about let's say music that has been around for quite some time.
No.
Okay.
They created local content as opposed to international content.
What's the difference?
I don't know if there's a difference, but it all comes about when you register with Echo. I think a lot of these artists coming up, maybe once a year, fly-by-night artists, they're not going to register with Echo.
But they should, though. You're suggesting that they should?
Yeah, if there's a system being created, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is, what I was trying to reference is, let's take, who? Stevie Wonder. Those fellas don't create anything now. And it's because they're old, You let Stevie Wonder put out an album, right? And you see what happens. What is happening? Epic or whoever represents him would buy his music, pay millions. But this is back then. And they go and they are authorized to print 10 million records as we knew it back then. And then they graduated to CDs. And then electronic. I mean, just download a file.
But
the downloading of the file allows the artist, as you said, to put it online and people to access it. You want to hear this song? You pay 10 cents. With the millions of people in the world, that artist could come rich just from one little song, you know. But in the past, these huge record companies basically bought the music. They owned it. The artist didn't own it back then.
Yeah, but is this no for a lot of people? Is this? I think you might.
It's changing, man.
Yeah, it's definitely changing, but I think that there's a lot of nuance, right? So, for instance, we talk about the artists. A lot of artists don't own their music.
Right, they are producers, the writers, and so on.
Right, so they're the performers of the music, but they don't actually own the music, right?
So when you break down, how much are they getting from anything they create? You know, as you said, it's a fraction of a cent. And you're hoping, that is why I think when you go online, it's better individually, because you're hoping that millions of people would access it for a 10 cents fee, a dollar fee.
Yeah.
And it adds up because you're dealing with millions.
Yeah, but the truth about it is,
even in that case, there's been a lot of conversation. See, what happened is, generally, the creators have not controlled the distribution of music. So we generally have not had much of a say in, for instance, the pricing structure, how much, for instance, is Apple just decided 99 cents for a song? The artist saying had no say in the pricing of it, none of that. Them and the labels come up with all of that. They came up with the price breakdown.
They know why they came up with that.
No, but when you look at it now, what percentage of the money that is collected is even paid out to the music owners? Most of the money stays with the distributor and the labels.
Okay, well, I had a lot that you responded, but my basic question is, how does this benefit the artists, especially small artists, relatively speaking, in thinking?
So, for instance,
you're talking pitons here.
But I'll answer that. The first thing is, and that's why I tell artists why it's so important, is to look at it almost like a bit of a pension, right? You receive these. It might not be right. It's over time, and it keeps coming. So when we say how it benefits, what happens is that persons are using your material, whether or not you're a popular artist, whether or not you get 1 million views or you get 10 views. Like, at the end of the day, your material is being used, and if your material is being used, then there should be some compensation for that, right? Why is it important for persons to be compliant? Because of course now what happens is, as people become more compliant, the pool that is available to be split amongst the artists goes up, and so you get a bigger percentage because there's a bigger pie. So whatever your slice is goes up because of the pie. So I think artists in particular should encourage compliance, because eventually it's just the right thing to do. Say that again, sorry?
It's going to be the key factor. You could have people on bicycles riding without lights, but if you don't enforce the fact that they shouldn't be doing it.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I think the way to ensure compliance would be to make it a part of the system, as opposed to leaving the onus. Because a lot of times, let's be honest, I don't believe that everybody is just out there trying to stiff the artists and we want to use the music and we want to pay them. Yeah, I don't think that is the case. But because it's seen as, hey, you come in and making me got to pay more money. Why you got to pay more money? I already paying all these other things. And I understand that. I understand that, because if you're running a business, editing that, when somebody come and tell you, hey, you got more money for me, I mean, you fight against that. Like, you're trying to maximize profits.
I really want to see this thing play out, because I was exposed to it as early as 2002. So I know it ain't a just come thing.
Right.
But the issue with I remember you make a song popular through the radio station, and as a result, not make a song popular, it's popular to the radio station. As a result of that, you get bookings to go here, to go there, and that's added value.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is though that even in that case, the value the argument could be made that the value is goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
And just like I said, if it was something tangible, if it was something tangible, like nobody goes and says, "Hey, look at all these people wearing your T-shirt. Why they got to pay for your T-shirt? Because the fact that they're wearing it gonna make other people want to wear it." Like nobody says that. It's the fact that it's intangible where we make all these arguments, and the truth is, like, I don't believe a lot of these arguments really hold much weight. If you put it in any other realm, it just sounds ridiculous, and that's just the reality.
Okay, well, I appreciate the interaction.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to call to, man.
Let's see how it plays out. Thanks.
All right, man.
All right.
Thank you so much. But guys, time is fast spent and we gotta go. So I appreciate you for tuning in to Island Tea this morning. Hopefully you guys out there stay dry, and please remember to be safe out there, guys. Please remember to be safe. Checking on your loved ones, checking on the people in your community, particularly the elderly and the people that live alone. Sometimes we take that for granted. You don't know who is leaking, and don't make an issue about it. Some others help with the wrong intentions, yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Whether you join me on Facebook, YouTube, any of the other digital media platforms. If you listen to me on the radio this morning, big up yourself. Appreciate it. 98.9 FM. Tell somebody about the show. We're gonna be back tomorrow, but right now I gotta leave. I gotta go. I gotta disembark. So guys, please remember, spend more time living your content than posting it. Also learn from the losses of others. And most importantly, remember, you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.